Good day, everyone. My name is Dexter A. Raballe, a faculty of Palawan State University, a Master of Educational Management graduate at Western Philippines University. Today, may I have the honor to present to you our study entitled Live Experiences, Challenges, and Academic Performance of Indigenous People Learners in Predominantly Non-IP Schools in Southern Palawan. The Department of Education instituted a National Indigenous Peoples Education Program in pursuit of the National Indigenous Peoples Education Policy Framework based on DepEd Order Number 62, Series of 2011, or also known as Adapting the National Indigenous Peoples Education Policy Framework, as DepEd response program to the right of Indigenous peoples to basic education that is responsive to their context, respect their identities, and promotes the value of their indigenous knowledge and skills and other aspects of their cultural heritage. The implementation of the IPED program is seen as a significant step in empowering indigenous learners to participate more fully in school and their communities. The study aims to determine the following. First, the demographic profile of the indigenous peoples learners of Southern Palawan in terms of age, sex, ethnicity, rank in the family, and distance of residence from school. Second, the demographic profile of the indigenous peoples parents in terms of age, sex, highest educational attainment, occupation, monthly income, ethnicity, number of children, and four-piece member. Third, the level of academic performance of grade 6 indigenous learners. Fourth, the lived experiences of grade 6 indigenous learners in terms of socioeconomic situation, bullying and discrimination, language and understanding, and location, distance, and safety. Fifth, if there is a significant relationship between the learner's profile to the following: A, their lived experiences, and B, academic performance. This study was guided by von Fenbrenner's ecological system theory, where he stressed out that a child's development was affected by everything in his or her surrounding environment. For this reason, home and school should establish and provide a better environment in which learners will feel secure, safe, and later will develop the love for learning. It is also glued to Deci and Ryan's theory of self-determination, which focused on human motivation and personality. They cited that relatedness is one of the human's ecological needs. This connotes that it is important for a child to feel a sense of both belonging and acceptance among other people, because when children feel they are important, it motivates them to participate and share their knowledge and experiences, which may lead to better school performance. This study was conducted to 6 public elementary schools on southern part of Palawan, predominantly non-IP enrolled learners. Data were analyzed with the use of mean frequency distribution, standard deviation, person-product moment correlation coefficient, and analysis of variance. This study prompted on June 2020 and was concluded on January 2021. After data had been gathered and analyzed, the following results were made. Table 1 shows that majority of the indigenous learners were 10 to 11 years old, which means they were in appropriate age for their grade level. Males belong to Palawan tribe, which signifies that they were raised by their Palawan parents, third or fourth in the family, and resides below 1 kilometer from the school, which means they live near the school communities. Table 2 shows that majority of the indigenous parents were 31 to 40 years old. Females, most of them only reached elementary level, which implies that they did not finish their primary years, and unprivileged to have access to better and higher education. Work as farm laborers, earned 1,000 to 3,000 pesos a month, which means they were belong to poor family. They belong to Palawan tribe, which means they grew up and practiced the unique culture, tradition, and beliefs of Palawan, had 3 to 4 children, and 4-piece member, which means they were able to get financial assistance from the government to support the educational needs of their children. Table 3 shows that majority of indigenous learners got a satisfactory level of academic performance, which signifies that most of them were able to have a better grades. Despite the fact that their parents were not able to help them with their studies at home, their teachers were making extra efforts to teach them and make them understand their lessons. Table 4A shows the lived experiences of indigenous learners in terms of their socio-economic situation, where it reveals that majority of the learners always eat their breakfast before they go to school. This signifies that their parents were able to provide their needs. Despite the fact that there were limited resources and income, majority of indigenous families were beneficiaries of Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program or 4Ps. Table 4B shows the lived experiences of indigenous learners in terms of bullying and discrimination. It reveals that many of them were bullied by their classmates because of their speech ability. This connotes that they were experiencing bullying and discrimination in school because of lack of confidence and low self-esteem. They also have weak foundation of the languages that they are required to use. Table 4C shows the lived experiences of indigenous learners in terms of language and understanding, where it shows that majority of the IPA learners were able to understand the lesson explained by their teachers and to do their assignment at home independently. This only because their teachers were making extra efforts to guide and teach them in order for them to have a better understanding of the subject matter. Table 4D shows the lived experiences of indigenous learners in terms of distance, location, and safety, where it reveals that majority of the IPL learners were able to attend school and participate in all school activities. This signifies that majority of the IPL learners live near the institution, and their parents were confident that their children were safe going to school by themselves. Table 5A shows that there's no significant relationship between the learner's profile and their lived experiences except for ethnicity and distance. This implies that a learner's age, sex, and rank in the family had nothing to do with their experiences in school. Table 5B shows that there's no significant relationship between the learner's profile and their academic performance, except for distance of residence from school. This implies that a learner's age, sex, and rank in the family were not relevant to their academic performance. Based on the findings and results of the study, the following conclusions were made. First, majority of the IPA learners were aged 10 to 11 years old, third or fourth in the family, and belonged to Palawan tribe. Second, IPA learners had satisfactory level of performance. Third, experiences of IPA learners were not affected by their age, sex, and rank in the family. And fourth, performance of IPA learners were not affected by their age, sex, ethnicity, and rank in the family. After careful examination of findings and conclusions, the study recommends the following. To teachers, should develop contextualized and multilingual instructional materials so that the parents can help and guide their children with their studies at home. Should advocate a child-friendly and culture-sensitive school. For the Department of Education, should facilitate trainings, seminars, and workshops related to student diversity and multicultural education. Should reinforce or strengthen the implementation of No to Bullying campaign of the department. To the government, should open job opportunities and livelihood programs for indigenous people's parents and include identified poor IP families to poor peace. Thank you. More power and be safe, everyone.